Okay, we are now recording. We're gonna be working on annotating. Annotating is kind of a fancy word for taking control and marking your text. And when I say taking control is if you're just sitting and looking and reading, that has control, right? You're not really processing, okay? And we do annotating to help twofold. One, to help us keep our brain where it needs to be focused on. And then also to help process the information. And what I mean by that is when you read, you can't remember, your brain has taken a little vacation without you. It went to lunch, it went somewhere else, maybe to a beach in Hawaii, I don't know, but it does it without you. It just goes. And this is, kind of another word, it's distracted. So if the brain is not focused, you have a harder time processing that information into long-term memory or even understanding it, okay? So if you've read something you don't remember, think about, okay, maybe I should be annotating to help me focus on what I'm doing and as well make notes of important things, okay? Marking the text. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm not going to go through the whole PowerPoint. It is on Moodle if you want to look it over. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things because we're going to spend the bulk of our time. I want to kind of go through it. One of the best things I found for students is if they actually practice it and do it. And so we're going to spend a little time doing that today. So I do like this phrase. I'm not sure who says it. John Naisbitt. Honestly, I will show you my ignorance. I don't know who that is. Probably a famous educator. But he says, in a world that's constantly changing, there's no one subject or set of subjects that will see you for the foreseeable future, let alone for the rest of your life. So I kind of equate that, particularly right now with technology, AI, things are going in radical different changes. Medical fields, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff out there. It is, let's just pick 10 years ago. What you learned about it 10 years ago is honestly not valid anymore in the work world. My sister's a nurse, and some of the things she's had to be learning as part of her job, right? Because those areas do not stay the same. But I would argue that's almost, not argue, I would agree that it's the same for anything you're going into. The one guarantee is it's going to change at some point, somehow, some way. So the most important skill to acquire now is learning how to learn. So that's why you're in college. You want to learn. You want to learn about specific things, right? But you need to be aware of how you learn, because this will not be the last time you have to learn something. A lot of students I talk to think, oh, once I get my degree, I am done. I'm going to get a job and I'm good forever. I'm all set. I used to think that when I was young and I went to college, I thought, oh, I get that certification and I am good. I'm done. Honestly, most of my life has been spent learning something or another, whether it be what I call the real world, license, house stuff, whatever, or in my work world, which has always been focused on education. So if you know how you learn and you learn the way you learn, you can apply those skills anytime for anything to help you process information better. Okay, so it's one of the reasons we do this. So when you are annotating, essentially you're taking control of your textbook. You're going to mark in it, those kinds of things. Now, how many of you were told, and I'm going to just say the K-12 system. Through the K-12 system, how many of you were told, don't write in your books? Do they still have textbooks? Oh, okay, well, there's one maybe improvement. For most of us that went to school prior to COVID, we had textbooks that you learned out of, right? And they're shared year after year. You turn them in at the end, you turn back in. And almost always the teachers will give some sort of instruction. Remember, don't write in your textbook. And I understand the reasons, it's budgets, they don't wanna buy new textbooks every year, that kind of thing. However, it's counterintuitive to the way your brain actually can process information. So your brain processes much more if you write on the text and you are using specific symbols, notes, that type thing to help you process the information. Now, ideally, if you had information that was in a textbook and you can't write in the textbook, you make a copy of those pages. And then as you're reading, you're gonna be marking, and annotating and textbook marking is really like having a conversation with the author. So you're putting in things like questions, you're underlining, you're writing in the margins, that kind of thing. Annotating and note-taking are not random. So what I mean by that is when you are writing things in the margin, they should not be random things. Another thing that is not helpful is if you just write everything. If you write everything, well, that's what the textbook is for. All you're doing there is copying, right? And the third thing is to rephrase the information that you're writing down in your own words as much as possible. Like I said, sorry, I've got a coughing fit here today. Like I said, if you are simply rewriting what the author said using those exact same words, all you're doing is copying, and it does not process into your long-term memory as well. I apologize, I don't know what's going on, I've got a bad cough today. Okay, so when you are annotating and you're working, right? These are things I want you to think about. I really do apologize, I'm not sure what's going on with me. The goal of having a textbook and why do you read a textbook? Let's just go with what you think. Why do you read a textbook? Or why do you read information? Go ahead, give me a shout out. Why do you? Off the cuff.
Understand the concept.
Yeah, you want to learn something or to try and understand something. Yeah, I would agree. So reading, that's the purpose of reading a textbook. The purpose of reading is not studying, by the way, right? So when students tell me, oh, they spent 2 hours studying, and I say, okay, what are you doing during studying? They say, well, I read the textbook, then I went back and reread the textbook, right? That's not studying. You are reading to understand, reading to learn, right? So what studying is something separate from reading. Okay, do you have to read to get to the study stage? Yes. But in your study process, you are doing something with the information. You are not just reading. So the purpose of reading a textbook or reading any information is to learn about it. That's exactly it, and understand it. Is every single thing in the textbook important? Well, probably the author that wrote it thinks so, right? But the reality is, not everything in a textbook is important, okay? You need to figure out. Okay, we are recording. Where was I at? Was anybody listening to me before I got interrupted? Thank you. Is everything in the textbook important? No, it is not. So this is part of it. You need to focus on just the important parts. And then this is also with annotating. You're not writing everything down. You are choosing, okay, what are important things that I'm gonna have to remember or go back to study, okay? The other thing is, how do you control your attention when you read? So this is going back to what I said prior, which is you read and you don't remember something because your brain took a vacation. You have to discipline your brain to focus on specific things. The good news is we live in a multitasking world, right? We can do a lot of things at the same time, and I'm as guilty of that as anybody, right? In fact, I just had a meeting before this class, and I'm literally meeting with a fellow, actually my chair, I'm meeting with my chair, talking with my chair. In the meantime, I'm answering emails and then answering text messages, all kind of interacting all at the same time, right? Yeah, can I do it? Yep, I can. So here's the bad news about multitasking. Your brain does not process information as well. It doesn't process it as deeply. So multitasking for what I call surface things, in other words, things that don't take a lot of thought. You don't have to go deep on, you don't have to file them into long-term memory. Multitasking is probably fine. But if you have to focus on content, you want to learn something or understand something, you really want to engage in selective attention. So selective attention means you are focused on one thing and no other distractions. Okay? So annotating helps with that, and note-taking. It forces your brain to stay on task. You are focused on this staying on task, okay? I don't think I need to go over any of the rest of the stuff because I'm gonna cover it in lecture. So let me get out of this part. Bless you. You're sneezing, I'm coughing. I don't know what's going on today. Maybe, yeah, for sure, because I don't normally have a cough, but for whatever reason, my throat's giving me an issue. Okay, so on our Moodle page, this is all on our Moodle page. We are gonna be doing annotating. Now, normally, what I do is I assign you an annotating text within your textbook, okay? I'll pick a chapter and I'll say, okay, I want you to annotate this particular chapter. However, what I have done, and this is new for me, so you're gonna be my guinea pigs and you're gonna give me feedback, is I have uploaded 2 articles and also the instructions on Moodle. But during class time, if you're here today, I'm gonna work through some of this together. So my strong recommendation, or I'm just gonna tell you flat out, you should probably save everything and pay really good attention today. Because you will be allowed to submit whatever part we do together. You will be allowed to submit that as the assignment, okay? You're still gonna have to submit. But I will allow, you know, whatever part we get through. I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole thing or if we're just gonna go through part of them. But whatever we do together, you should save and not get rid of. Okay, so I have a bunch of pages. Let me just explain them, and then I'm gonna take a hot minute and just walk around and pass them out. I hope I made enough copies. If not, I'll just run across the hall. I'm gonna pass out burglars and burglary annotating assignment. So you're gonna get both the direction page and the article itself, okay? Same thing for the Komodo dragon. You're gonna get the direction page and you're gonna get the article itself. You are not required to submit anything with the instructions, right? That's for you. What you are required to submit for the assignment is a copy of your completed annotations, okay? And that's the part we're gonna walk through today, together, okay? Questions? Dee, are you just checking the time or did you want me for anything?
No, I'm not checking.
Okay. Give me a hot minute here. I'm going to quick stop recording or pause. I'm gonna resume recording. Okay, so all the papers are passed out to everybody. We're all good there. We're gonna start with the burglars and burglary, robbers and robberies, and hot products, okay? So keep in mind, this is front and back for each one of these, okay? So, to help you along, if you look, most of the paragraphs have numbers next to them. And that tells you that's the number of the paragraph. Does that make sense? So if you're, in class, one of the things you should do is just look really quickly, make sure your paragraphs are in order. It's gonna make it easier for you later on. Okay? Get that ugly? All right, take out on the side your annotating activity, burglars and burglary. Now, this first activity is we are practicing annotating. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is annotating is not random. You should use specific things, and whatever you use, you should be consistent with. So for example, if you're underlining something, you're only underlining a certain type of something. So for example, if you say, okay, you want to identify the topic in every paragraph, You know, who or what is that paragraph about? What's the main point, whatever. And you say, okay, I'm gonna underline that. That's what you do for every paragraph. You don't underline some things that are not the same. What I mean by that, you're reading, what is the topic? You underline the topic. Next paragraph, you do the same thing. What is the topic? Underline the topic. Third paragraph, same thing. If you're going to highlight, and this is a very common thing with students, if you're gonna highlight, you need to be very specific about what you're highlighting and always use the same color for the same things, right? So, for example, maybe you found facts and figures that you're like, oh wow, I need to know this stuff. So you highlight that in yellow. So now, throughout that rest of that article, yellow means facts and figures that you think are important. You choose another color, maybe it's vocabulary words. There are vocabulary words that you think, oh man, I'm gonna need to know this for the test. Highlight those in blue or whatever color, but it's not yellow, right? And you do that the same all the way through. Am I making sense to everybody so far?
Yes.
Any questions about those surface things right now? Okay, so what I've done is I've done an activity where basically it's a combination of practicing, annotating, and following directions. So this is very important. You follow the directions because this is how it's going to be graded. And then how you do it within the article. So I am using a pencil only because I have no idea where my pen is, but let's start with the number one. Directions, paragraph on the corresponding article are already numbered for you, so complete it and follow the directions for each paragraph. So you can see the directions are by paragraph 1, paragraph 2, etc. That is where you are working, okay? So as we are reading, paragraph 1 starts on the first page and goes all the way until you see the number 2. Good, bad, ugly? So for this first one, I am going to read out loud. Normally I don't read to you, we're all grown-ups. But I'm gonna take a minute and read it to you so that we're all on the same page at the same time, okay? Burglaries and burglary, robbers and robberies, and hot products. Perhaps you've already had the experience of having something stolen from you, but if not, the probability is high that it will happen at some point during your lifetime. Oh, hold on. Perhaps you've already, however, this selection comes from a criminology text, focuses on the factors that go into the decision to burglarize one place rather than another, how robbers choose victims and businesses to rob, and how thieves decide what to steal. So you can tell right away in that paragraph, they're telling you what this is going to be about, what this whole article is going to be about. Burglars and burglary. Criminologists are increasingly interested in the factors that go into a decision to burglarize. The location or setting of the building, the presence of guards or dogs, the type of burglar alarms and external lighting, and so forth. Does a car in the driveway or a radio playing music in the house have a significant impact on the choice of home to burglarize? George Rengert and John Wasilchik, great name by the way, conducted extensive interviews with suburban burglars in an effort to understand their techniques. They found significant differences with respect to several factors. The amount of planning that precedes a burglary. Professional burglars plan more than do amateurs. The extent to which a burglar engages in systematic selection of a home. Some burglars examine the obvious clues, such as presence of a burglar alarm, a watchdog, mail piled up in a mailbox, newspapers on the doorstep. More experienced burglars look for subtle clues. For example, closed windows coupled with air conditioners that are turned off. The extent to which a burglar pays attention to situational cues. Some burglars routinely choose a corner property because it offers more avenues of escape, has fewer adjoining properties, and offers visibility. Okay, we're at the end of paragraph 1, and you see the number 2 there, so that means paragraph 2 is starting. But for right now, we're just gonna go paragraph by paragraph, okay? So let's go ahead. What is it telling us to do in paragraph 1? So these are annotating things, and they're telling us to do these things in the text. 1, turn the subheading into a question. Try to come up with more than one. Write them above the heading. Number 1. Where's the heading? Where's the subheading? Let's go easy. Who thinks they know where the heading is? Think about it. What do you want to go with?
Burglars and burglars? I can say it, I can say it.
Let's go. Burglars and burglary is the subheading. And burglars, burglary, robbers, and robbers and hot products, that's actually the title, or what we would call the main one, okay? So we have to come up with more than one question. And we're gonna write it above the heading, okay? So when you're coming up with questions, the purpose of coming up with a question and writing it down above the heading is to help focus your mind on what are things you should be looking for to understand or find within the text. So let's just open up. We're gonna create more than 2, but I want you to get the feel of this. If you don't know what else to do, go ahead and turn the actual heading itself into a question. Does anybody know how to do that? Yes, absolutely, that's the question, right? So great, give me one. What's a question you have about this article based on the heading?
Oh, and then, this little short paragraph right before the word.
Yeah, do you have a question about anything? Now, keep in mind, it's about the whole article based on what they're giving you in the title of the headings.
Have you been robbed before?
No, close, but no cigar. You gotta actually address it to that. You're not asking the author, have you been robbed before, right? But what you can is say, what is the difference between robbers and robbery?
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay, so let's write that one down. Okay, so for people watching from home, I'm gonna hold this up as close as I can to the camera, and I apologize, I am writing in pencil. So I do not know if you're gonna see it. It's terrible. Does anybody have a dark pen that I could borrow? Cause it's gonna be really hard. Oh, thank you so much, sir. So I'm just gonna repeat what that was. And there's a couple things I wanna point out to you. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this up to the camera and talk with you. So, I mean, I'll show you guys as I'm walking up there. That's where you're putting that. You can put it in that place. It's also fine if you put it above burglars and burglary, but we're focusing on the entire. Okay, that's the placement of it. Unfortunately, for my people at home, you may or may not be able to see the wording I use. So here's the important part. When you're doing annotating whatever, number 1, don't worry about spelling. You're the one looking at it, nobody else. 2, feel free to abbreviate. You should not have to write out full words, full sentences. So on mine, I did a bullet point up at the top for one of my questions. What diff between rob, robbery? So I didn't spell those words. I abbreviated all kinds of things, right? Give me another question then. Somebody have a different one, because it said more than one.
What are hot products?
Ooh, good. What are hot products? Now again,
What is hot products?
yeah, what is hot products? Guess what? You're gonna find out when you read the article, right? But that's a great question because you're already focusing your brain. Oh, I need to know what hot products are. I don't know what those are, right? So you can see where mine is. I wrote 2 of them, right? But there's all kinds of questions you can come up with that are relevant to this article, you know, based on the headings and the title. So, I mean, some of the things, and I'm just gonna ask this, if you can tell me the difference, double snaps to you. But most people can't. What is the difference between a burglar and a robber? Can you answer that?
And a burglar, like, they do, homes and houses.
And a robber.
Robber do banks.
So here's what I wanna say, I think you have an idea, I don't think you know exactly. So that would be a great question. What's the difference between a robber and a burglar? Right, does that make sense? And again, is that part of the headings and titles? Yeah, it is. Okay. So again, your questions do not have to be the same as someone else's. However, your questions have to be relevant to the article. And you do it before you read the article, right? We read paragraph 1, but those questions you could come up with based on the title and the heading. Make sense? Okay, I'm gonna move on. By the way, that was number 1. So when I'm following the directions, what I like to do is I put a little slash through the ones I have done, because there's a lot of things you're gonna have to do on this. So I don't wanna lose track of what I've got. I don't wanna lose my place or miss something, okay? All right, let's look at number 2. It says circle the word factors in the first sentence. It says lab, but it meant label. Label the 4 factors with a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Write factors on the right-hand margin, underline it, and list the 4 factors below. So there's multiple things you have to do for number 2. So let's start with the first one. Circle the word factors in the first sentence. So obviously that word's gonna occur more than once, and they're telling you where you have to circle it at. I'm gonna circle it on mine, and then you show me if you circled it on yours. In the right one. So this is circling it in the first sentence. If your place looks like my place, you're good.
We in paragraph 1. Oh, Richard.
That's why you gotta read them careful. You gotta read those directions. It says in the first sentence. So you're right, that word is gonna occur multiple times. But it's telling you which one they want you to circle. Okay? Anybody need me to still hold? I'm gonna move on to the next. Did you see it, D, or not?
That's little Richard, okay, I had to write that.
Okay. So then it says, label the 4 factors with a 1, 2, 3, and 4. So as we are looking, who thinks they know what or where the 4 factors are? In paragraph 1, by the way, we are in paragraph 1. There's a clue in there.
Cause it gives you like the little,
It gives you some bullet points, but how do you know those bullet points are the factors?
because they're in like a, not like a list. but
It's
like-
kind of this.
Close, I mean, that's a huge clue. When they pull something out, they do bullet points. But there's actually wording in the sentence that tells you, yeah, these are the factors. D?
That last sentence.
Yeah, the sentence, that's exactly right. They found significant differences with respect to several factors, okay? So that's telling me, yeah, the next thing, those are my factors. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Hold on. 1, 2.
It's 4. Based on 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, I see only 3 dots.
Yeah.
There's only 3, so is 3 got 2 in it?
Yeah, 2 dots, no, 3 up here too.
Okay, let's Let's go to our factors. The amount of planning that precedes a burglary, is that a factor? Yes, that's
Yes.
one. The extent to which a burglar engages in systematic selection of a home, is that a factor? Sure.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
Okay, the second bullet point,
How
the
does-
second bullet point, do you see the second bullet point?
Mm.
The extent to which a burglar engages in systematic selection of a home.
Oh, okay,
So is that a factor?
yeah,
Yes.
if I select in the house, I'm gonna put that, cause that's a lot of work.
Okay. The extent to which a burglar pays attention, oh, you know what? What are you noticing about that? Number one, amount of planning, it's what? Italicized. Number two, what's italicized? Systematic selection of a home, okay? Number three, the extent to which a burglar pays attention to situational cues. Okay, three, once again, it is italicized, so we for sure have our three. It's telling us we need four factors. So let's back up and see if there was something italicized anywhere else that might be a factor.
It's in two.
Say again,
It's in two.
in two. Oh, yeah, I think, you know what, it's systematic selection of a home and then
Subtle cues.
subtle cues, but it's basically, yeah, presence of burglar alarm, watchdog, so presence of deterrence or that kind of thing. So you're right, that was not italicized though. So here's the thing, I wanna go back up a minute. Let's read that last sentence in the paragraph again. They found significant differences with respect to several factors. We went the wrong way. These are differences
Those are the.
for the factors. So if we go, but what I'm saying is, let's go back up those factors, right?
Into the location, the. presence,
Yes, yep,
the External lighting.
yep, location or setting. Presence of guards or dogs. Type of burglar alarms and external lighting, yeah. So those are factors, well, I'm sorry, this down here are factors relating to, or I'm sorry, the difference is relating to those factors. Okay, so we were close, not quite. This is why, you know, part of it is we're just reading quickly, we're not reading deeply. Okay, what do we have to do after that? Now we have to pull out the word factors and label them 1, 2, 3, 4, which we did. And then write them in the right-hand margin. So fine. I'm gonna go factors. And then we're gonna say location. Guards. Dog. Type of alarm. And then external lighting. So how I do this, just to make it clear, because you're doing this for yourself, you're not doing this for anybody else, it's for you to keep things organized. It's asking us to pull those 4 factors to the right-hand margin and then list them underneath that, right? So you just simply write factors. Now, you don't have to, but what I do is I underline factors and kind of make it a mini heading there in my notes. And then what were those 4 factors? So the nice thing about that is you don't have to go back into the text to find what the factors are, because that sounds like a test question, doesn't it? What are the 4 factors affecting burglaries? Yeah, those 4 factors: location, guard or dog. And that's the notes you're writing in the margin, by the way. So you're trying to find it by annotating, and then you write it in the margin to help you, like when you go to study. Fourth is external lighting. Okay, now we can cross off number 2 on our instructional sheet. Okay, number 3. Underline the names of researchers. Everybody know what the names of the researchers were?
George.
Yep, George Rengert,
Yeah, and
John Wasselchik. Gotta love that name, Wasselchik. So again, you can see where I underlined, that's where they occur. So far, so good? All right, what does it tell me to do after that? Circle the word technique and underline significant differences. Circle the word technique. Underline the word differences. So that's that last sentence we were focused on. So the next items below it in bullet points are actually the differences. Then it says label the prefactors with a 1, 2, 3, which we already had because we did that before, right? I X'd mine out, but you don't have to. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So there you go. Those are the bullet points. They're labeled on 1, 2, 3. And then underline the words in italics. So here we go. Amount of planning we underline. Systematic selection of a home we underline. And attention to situational cues we underline. So we can kind of see they're within each of those. The italics, we pointed it out a minute ago. We were just pointing out the differences instead of the actual factors. So these are the differences within each factor. So we're underlining, there was one back here. Right? So whatever's italicized in 1, 2, 3 for difference. Write the word differences in the right-hand margin. So I wrote differences. And then we have to list the 3 differences underneath the heading in the right-hand margin. So what it's asking me to do, I wrote the word differences. Now I gotta write below that the 3 differences they list in that section. Make sense so far? Okay. So what am I gonna write? I am going to write amount of planning. Yep.
Systematic selection of.
Yep, absolutely systematic selection.
That's everything that we
Yep, and then I forgot the last one. Attention to situational cues. So as you can see on mine, when I'm writing my notes in the margin, I am abbreviating like crazy. I'm not even writing full words. I don't care about my spelling. Because these are for you. You have to understand what you're writing. So that's the caveat to this is you need to only abbreviate as much as you will understand and remember, right? So I'm a big fan of acronyms. I like to use acronyms, which is the first letter of things. However, when so for example, I'm taking notes on a history thing and I would write AA for American Alliance, right? Going back, I have to remember AA was about American Alliance and not Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So this is what I mean about abbreviating. It's fine if your spelling's poor, it's fine if you're just writing partials, but you do have to write enough that it's going to bring it back to you in your brain, okay? Because if you can't transcribe your own notes, it's not doing you any good. But I do want to kind of remind you, you don't have to write full sentences or full words if you can shorten and abbreviate. Okay. So I believe we did number 3 for paragraph 1. Okay. So now paragraph 1 is done. And you would move on to paragraph 2. All right, let's try 2 together. Let me read again. Reichert and Wasselchick have also examined the use of time and place in burglary. Time is a critical factor to burglars for 3 reasons. They must minimize the time spent in targeted places so as not to reveal their intention to burglarize. Opportunities for burglary occur only when a dwelling is unguarded or unoccupied, that is, during daytime. Many burglars would call in sick so often that they would be fired from their legitimate jobs. Others simply quit their jobs because it interfered with their burglary. Burglars have working hours, that is, they have time available only during a limited number of hours if they have a legitimate job. Before committing their offense, oh, sorry, that's paragraph 3, so we're gonna stop there. What do I have to do in paragraph 2?
Search for the word time in the second sentence.
Okay, so we gotta find that second sentence first. It's the first word in the second sentence, right? So here's where mine is. Underline 3 reasons. Okay, so I think it just means underline the words, 3 reasons. Yeah. So I underline the word. And I think that's all I have to do for number 1 in paragraph 2. So we're gonna cross that. Did I miss it? What's that?
What did you underline?
No, it says 3 words.
What?
Okay, it says number 1, paragraph 2 in your directions, right? Number 1, paragraph 2 in the directions. Circle the word time, got it. Underline 3 reasons, got it. They're both in the same sentence, by the way.
Oh, okay. I thought they wanted us to underline the actual third reasons.
No, because it's in quotation marks, they're telling you it's a phrase. Okay, so number 2, label the 3 reasons with a 1, 2, and 3. Shout out, what's the first reason?
The first dot.
Yeah, they have to minimize time spent in the place, right? 2, what's number 2?
The second dot.
Yeah. Which is what? I mean, what are they telling us in the second dot?
Opportunities for burglars occur only when a dwelling is.
Yeah, so it's limited times, it has to be unoccupied at that time, okay? It's usually during the daytime, okay? What is my third one? They have working hours,
Oh, yeah.
which means they're only available a limited time. Okay, I have labeled them 1, 2, 3. This is what mine looks like. I'm sure yours looks similar. So we're gonna cross off number 2. Number 3, underline the minimized time spent in quotation marks, by the way. So that means it's a phrase. Underline the minimized time spent. Opportunities occur dwelling unguarded. So I want you to underline those words and phrases. Okay, so the first one, minimize time spent. If you look in number 1, it's in the middle of that first sentence. And they're saying only underline that particular phrase. Okay, number 2, what was the word? Opportunities. And then it says dot, dot, dot. That means it doesn't want you to underline the words after that. Right? It says opportunities, and then underline the word occur. And then underline dwelling. And then underline unguarded. And working hours. So then we have to go down here. Okay, so what it's asking you to do, which is kind of different probably it's kind of counterintuitive to you. In number 2, it gave you the phrases, and what they're doing is, those are the important parts. So instead of underlining the entire sentence, you just are telling yourself, opportunities occur dwelling unguarded, right? So when's the opportunity? When nobody's home, or it's not guarded. And then same thing in number 3, they just want you to know working hours, that's the important part. So hence, You don't need to underline lots of things, and you really rarely underline an entire sentence. Make sense? Okay, we underlined all of those words. That was number 3. So I believe we are now done with paragraph 2. Okay, so first and second page are almost done. You're gonna have to do something on that last line for the 3rd paragraph when you read it. But for now, I think we can put it aside. So are you getting the feel for what we're doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I like
good.
how I got the instructions, so it just tells me.
You don't have the instructions?
I said I like how I got.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so again, this is twofold. The first is, can you follow directions, right? You gotta read carefully. The second is to give you a feel and
Okay.
to give you a feel of how annotating is gonna look. And, items that you're gonna pull out and what you're gonna do in your annotating. Make sense?
Oh, so that's what this assignment is for?
Correct. It's a homework, so I'm asking you to practice the skills. It's a graded homework, it's a graded practice, but it's not a test or a quiz or, I'm not testing your memory or anything like that. Okay, so you need to finish that out, and the rest of that article is on the other pages. So for that article, you should have 3 pages, most of them will be front to
Back.
back. Good, bad, ugly?
Hey, stay for.
I do not have one. What's that?
No, I was agreeing with her, about the sticks.
Oh, if I had one, I would let you. I have tape. You can grab a piece. Oh, maybe. Hold on. No, no stapler. You'll have to either wait until you get back and staple, or, oh, you know what? Up front in the lobby area, up by the top here, there's a table, and I believe there's staplers there. So you can staple them on your way out if you want. Okay, so I'm gonna talk through the next one, but we're not gonna do anything for it. This is gonna be total homework for you. But I want you to ask me questions if you see any, or if there's something you don't understand. Because I wanna make sure I answer you and help you sufficiently that you're gonna be comfortable doing the homework. So the Komodo Dragon annotating instructions, you're gonna turn the heading and the title into question. Try for at least 1 or 2. I would like you to do 2. Okay? And this is to help define your purpose for reading. Now, just put in your brain, what are you reading this article for? So it says heading title. So what does that mean? Here's the title. Here's the heading. So you gotta do it for every heading. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna see two questions here. 2 questions here, here, and here. Wherever the bolded words are, those are considered headings. Subheadings sometimes, but.
So
you're gonna have to-
heading and have questions about the heading.
Okay, so let's just, let's do the title together. Let's get you off to the right start. Komodo dragon and endangered species. Give me some questions that you could write above or next to that heading title.
What is a Komodo dragon?
What is a Komodo dragon? That's a really good question. Great.
And why
Here's
is
the
it
question.
endangered?
Great question. Why is it endangered? Any other questions? Okay, if you only have those 2, that's perfectly fine, and you get full credit on it. We're gonna jump down to the first heading. It says species, description, and range. What's a question you could have?
What is range?
Yeah, what is the Komodo's range? Right? Yeah. What is the Komodo's range? Does everybody know what the word range means?
No, that's why.
Range means how much of a wide area. In other words, how far can it go? How far can it travel? So for example, if you have a cheetah, it would probably have a range of something like 75 to 100 miles, right? But a rabbit would probably have more of a range in the, I don't know, 50-foot area.
So how far can
And that's really good. You could rephrase it. You don't have to use the word range. How far would the Komodo travel? Or, you know, walk, I guess. It's not always about walking. Okay? Any other questions for that? You can say what species of it, and it also has descriptions. You can say, you know, what type is it, or what would it look like? Any of those kinds of things. So any of those would work, because they're all related to species and range. Okay. Let's go down to the third paragraph, that heading. Natural history of Komodo dragons. What would be a question you could ask?
Where did the Komodo dragon come from?
Excellent. Where did the Komodo dragon come from? Any other question? Because that's only one. I mean, you could get away with one, but see if you can think of another one.
Where do they live?
Yeah, absolutely. That might be more under range, but
So what is their habitat? Well, no, that's the second one, never mind, what was the name?
back. So one of the things you could say is yeah, what is the history of Komodo dragon, right? Again, all you do on that one is you are rephrasing the question, I'm sorry, the heading into a question, which is perfectly acceptable. And let's do that last one. Causes of endangerment of the Komodo dragon, hunting and habitat loss. Can you get a question or create one?
What are they causes?
Yeah, what are some causes of endangerment? Any other? Why do they hunt? Another one, on that same line is, are they hunted by anything, right? Because that could be a loss of habitat, you know, look at,
endangerment.
yeah, what are causes of endangerment? But a lot of time, it's not just about what they hunt, but also are they hunted by predators or some other man?
So basically our Komodo hunting.
Well, we're just creating questions, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you have two, you're okay, and as long as it's related to the heading in some way, shape, or form, you're okay.
What is the history of? The other one, where is it?
Okay, so now on your instruction sheet, if you have one or two questions on every single one, you can cross off number one. You have completed number one on the direction sheet for this one. And you're gonna go through the same process that we did with burglars and burglary. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so both, before you go, I'm gonna turn off the recording in a second here. I just wanna make sure everybody understands, both of these are assignments. Both of these are graded assignments. So you need to upload them to Moodle. How do you upload to Moodle? You take your handy dandy phone, take pictures of every page. You do not need to take a picture of the instruction page, okay? But anywhere you did work, you gotta take pictures of that. And then you save those pictures on your computer. If you took 8 pictures, then make sure you save them 8 times separately in files, right? And then you can go to Moodle in the assignments and upload those picture files. I have opened that assignment to allow you multiple file submissions. And what that means is you do not need to get everything in one picture. You can literally take one page at a time. I'm gonna warn you right away, check your pictures. I have to be able to see the full page and I have to be able to read it clearly of what you did and where you did it. So you have to make it legible. Number one, if you're making notes, you gotta make them legible. And then also your picture has to be good enough, it can't be blurry, whatever, that I can read what you wrote in the margins, I can see exactly the word you underlined, that kind of thing. Make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna stop my recording, hold on.